everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Consciousness Road Trip podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Watt, and again, we're joined by a special guest while we take a deep dive into the tools of access consciousness while we explore this amazing planet that we live on. Welcome, everyone, to the next episode of the Consciousness Road Trip podcast. I'm so excited with my guest today and what we're going to be talking about. But first of all, without further ado, I welcome Mr. Wesley Pullen.
Hello, thank you for having me here.
I don't know why I haven't had you on my podcast yet, but then I all of a sudden had this fantastic idea and I invited you maybe 48 hours ago and here we are. So I love how, everything is moving at a pace at the moment that even I'm struggling to keep up with. It's very interesting.
Right?
How's your life going?
It's going great, actually. Becoming accustomed to staying at home has been pretty interesting.
Yep.
And being grateful for the things that are slowly coming into my life again, like having a gardener again, or, being able to do online shopping and, all these little things that I took for granted before.
Right? Yeah, and it's you're in South Africa, so I'm in Australia, you're in South Africa, and, if you're listening to this podcast for the first time, my target with this podcast was to actually take it with me around the world. It's called Consciousness Road Trip because that was basically my life until, 6 or 8 weeks ago when the world decided to go a little bit COVID crazy. So, so now instead of the podcast traveling the world with me, I'm at home in Australia and I just invite all of these amazing people onto a Zoom to talk about all of the cool things, that we're creating and that I guess mostly that's up in the world. So what I would love to talk about tonight or today or during this episode is kind of bodies, but kind of this creation thing, and it sort of doesn't have a total sort of solidity or clear thing about what I want to talk about. But I knew when I got the ping to talk to you, it was definitely about creating a body, creating exercise that works for your body. And then I was thinking about it a minute ago, and it was almost like creating the body your body desires to be. So I don't know if anything pops for you straight away with that, but I just remember when, I think it might have been the first or second time we sort of met in person was during the Aussie tour last year, and you asked me about the gyms in the area. You were like, are there CrossFit gyms here? And I was like, oh my God. And just even perceiving energetically that, how excited my body got to talk to someone about that and how that works, I guess. Is there anything that you want to start with around that, exercise, bodies, anything at all that's pinging for you?
Well, I can say pretty much a lot of my life I spent judging my body for what it was and how it looked and how I thought it should look. And, I remember being in school, I would go on all sorts of diets. I would, drink this special shake. Eventually, I was at a point where I hated my body so much, I would take these illegal drugs to lose weight. And it got to a point about 2 years ago where I just said, enough. I cannot wake up every morning and look at my body in the mirror and hate it so much. And it was one of the things that Brendan Watt actually said was if you look in the mirror and you judge yourself for having a big ass, does your ass get smaller? No. So that changed a lot for me when I started to look in the mirror and actually start asking to have joy and gratitude with my body. With exercise, with eating, with food, with activities, with all things related to my body.
Yep. That's so cool. And, if you're listening to this podcast or you've stumbled across it, basically both Wesley and I create with, work with, have in our life the tools of access consciousness. And that's really what we talk about a lot on here. And I know for me, it was the same thing. And I'm not going to lie, I still judge my body a lot more than I wish or desire to. And I hear Dane and Simone and Brendan and Gary saying all of the time, if you're not willing to be aware of something, you can't change it. So for me, it's also this place now where I do go to that place of judging my body. I'm now here we go. I'm judging my body again. Okay, so now I'm aware of it. Is it something that I would like to change? And, it always is. And for me, sometimes it's not this instant flick of the switch, but every single day I can honestly say I have less judgment of my body and more ease with my body and more of a sense of like where I desire to go with it, if that makes sense. Like I don't, again, like even talking about trying to describe or put this podcast into a box, it's this energy that I am now starting to be willing to be aware of with my body. And I'm having more and more of that every day. So is there like when you talked about, you know, changing some of this stuff around judging yourself and the way you choose things for your body that your body enjoys, are there particular tools in Access that are your go-tos, or do you just kind of see what's up in the moment, or what helped you? Like what tools really set you on that different path with your body?
Yes, I love what you're saying there as well. Like specifically tools for me was like questions. Because you spoke a lot about there, like it's still like you still judge your body. Yeah, I still judge my body too as well. Like it's an everyday practice of beginning to have communion with my body. And a lot of it has been questions and the willingness to change it as well. And the willingness to see what it is, like you said, like, okay, I'm judging my body. Am I willing to stop judging my body now? These are the questions I ask myself. Like, am I willing to stop judging my body right now? Okay, no, not so much. So what would it take to be willing? You know, it all starts with that willingness for me. Like, okay, cool. What would it take to be willing? Yeah.
That's so cool. And it takes out all of this like heaviness around, because even when I came to Access, you know, there's certain tools you find really easy, right? You just kind of like change this. But my body has been one that even now I would say it's been the challenging one for me to get to that place where I was willing to have ease with changing it. Not even ease with my body being my target, obviously, but even just ease with changing the things that I was doing that were kind of the insane points of view I had bought as a child growing up with a mother. I love you, Mum, if you're listening to this, I adore you. But growing up with a mother that really kind of hated her body, and growing up with people that around me that judged her heavily, and watching her try to create her body so it could be something that other people enjoyed, and she never fucking enjoyed it. So now being able to start having the ease of just being able to change those things has been such a big thing for me, and such this thing that I never thought it went this deep. You know, I thought it would be something that, I can change this like I changed everything else. But it's one of these things for me that, like you said, it's every day. It's like this continual, like going to the gym. If you want to change something, you work on it. But it's not even that either, because there's so much I've discovered even around the lies that we're sold on. If you want to get better at something, or you want to do something, you've got to work at it and work at it and work at it and work at it. And so many opinions out there about how to create a body, but none of them are really a question. They're all about, well, this is what I've found that work. This is what's going to work for you. Like, there's not really a place out there that I've found, apart from the tools of Access, that empowers me to ask questions and to talk to my body about the changes that we're trying to create together.
And I really think that's what it is like there is no end point with your body. There is no answer.
Cool.
Your body has a point of view of its own too, and it will always change. You know, your body could say today, I like almond milk and green tea, you know, and tomorrow it could be something different. And it's also having the willingness to go along with that and create with your body, like throughout this whole process of having a body. Like, that's what I get this whole creating with a body thing is. It's an ongoing exploration of the communion you have with it.
Yep. And even like I did another podcast a few weeks ago with John Davis called the Meandering Path of Consciousness, or to Consciousness. And it's kind of that energy too that I find with my body as well. It's like, what if every day was a new discovery of something else that my body was like? How often do you even look in the mirror and look the same? Like, I so often like catch my reflection and I'm like, who the fuck is that? And then I'm like, oh, it's me. Like, and the more what I've found, and maybe like this is starting to get down to a bit of where I wanted to go with this as well. The more I've been willing to tap into that magic and the energy that having a body is. Like, because for so long, like I would say at one stage, maybe 3 years ago, I had close to what I would have said was like my ideal body. Like I was super fit and, you know, I was doing all these different sports and I was working out a lot. But fuck, I still judge the fucking shit out of myself. Like as much more than way more than I do now. And I'm probably like a good, you know, 5 or 6 or 10 kilos heavier than I was back then. Like there was nowhere where having that body stopped me from judging it. Like it was always just this continual cycle of it not being good enough or something needing to change or this is hurting me or, you know, it's almost like my body never lived up to my expectations of it. And like having these tools now and where I'm willing to go with this stuff has shown me a level of magic also that our bodies have and a level of energetic like awareness and like you said, like a communion that's available there that is more, there seems to be about 6 trillion, godzillion, billion times more available there than I'd even, you know, realized not very long ago. So like even having that place now, guys, if you're listening to this podcast and you know, like tap into the energy of your body for a moment, like wherever you are in the world, just for like 3 seconds. Like if you can, close your eyes. If not, just do what you're doing and take a couple of deep breaths and just perceive your body and ask for what your body is as an energetic, like an energetic being, like an energetic existence, what it is to start showing up more and to start showing you what it knows, like on that level as well. And also what I've really started to discover as well, and it's funny today, I had a massage with this lady here in Australia that she does just dry needling where she really gets in there and like it can be quite painful and quite uncomfortable too. And talking to my body the whole time, like, okay, so you know, what's beyond this pain? Like asking it questions, what's beyond this pain? And asking my body to show her where to put the needles so she could get to the place that needed the help, you know, a little bit quicker. And just really having this place available now that I don't think I've ever been willing to tap into before.
So get that. Like each day I discover something else about my body that I didn't know the day before. And that's like, that if honestly, if I had a target with my body, that would be it, is to get like create together every day and learn something new about it all the time.
Yeah, I love that. And that's the whole question thing, you know, like in Access we say, you know, a question will always empower. Like what if your body was part of that? What if your body was part of that as well? Like, you know, and even growing up, like I did the same thing where I took a lot of drugs when I was younger, you know, lived like this life where I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe really that my body put up with me. It wasn't just like, fuck off, you're not taking care of me. Like nowhere was I ever in this place of like considering my body as something that had like an awareness and an energetic capacity and a capacity to contribute something at all. Like I thought it was just this vessel that I could have fun with and get around in and yeah. And so, okay, so like talking about now in this time where we've sort of had, you know, a month or however long it's been to sort of, it's been like us and our bodies. Like, have there been really sort of like big aha moments for you or anything that's really almost like something you're going to take forward into the new? I always like look at now that the world's starting to open up again, like this is like the new future, like the new future of possibilities. Like what do you desire to see in the world with people and their bodies now based on what you've discovered with yours?
Well, I can say that during this time of quarantine and literally just me and my body at home, I discovered all the places I was still judging my body and that I didn't know I wasn't, you know, because I'm like a train every single day kind of person, go to the gym, exercise, eat clean, all that stuff. And all of that was shattered and taken away from me when this lockdown quarantine started. So I had like an oh fuck moment for a good 2 weeks. I was like, shit, how am I going to train every day? How am I going to eat clean? How am I going to do all these things? And that started to reveal and unravel all these judgments that I still had, which was such a gift because I got to look at them for the first time. And so if I could say going forward, it would be like, I'm actually going into this new future with like such a level of curiosity of like, what could I choose now that like, I'm not going to judge myself for those things anymore. Like not going to the gym every day or whatever. Like I've been at home for 6 weeks. I didn't go to the gym every day and I didn't die. So here we are. I wonder what's going to be possible going forward, you know? And like my body's still happy. Like, you know, I actually started to ask my body like, hey, you know, like, you know, we work hard every day in the gym and stuff, but what could we create energetically at home, you know? And these are the things I wasn't creating with my body before this whole lockdown period. So afterwards, and say after like this new future, whatever the hell we want to call it, I'm starting to include more energetics with my body too.
Cool. Yeah. And it's so funny here in Australia because we basically like this nation of, I don't know, it's like the gym gear you can't buy. Like I went into the stores finally yesterday and could get some like 5 kilo weight plates and some not super heavy weights. So all of the gyms, everyone sold out of gym equipment and alcohol sales went up 70%. So it's like we're this nation of like super fit alcoholics or some combination thereof. But I was I still have had a guy coming out to my house every now and again doing some like PT sessions, and he's like, oh my God, Sarah, you just wait. You know, in 2 weeks' time, Facebook Marketplace, you're going to get the best deal on all the gym equipment you need. You'll be able to deck out your whole gym. It's so funny. And just talking about that too, like what I've discovered and what I'm still discovering too, like because it's almost even during this 6 weeks of or however long it's been. I keep saying 6 weeks. I don't know. It could be 8 weeks. I don't even know. But during this time that it's been much more time for me to be with me and to be with my body, it's even this time has been, it's not like, because I was kind of like, okay, here we go, 6 or 8 weeks, I'm going to get healthy, I'm going to be so fit, and because I've got a gym in my garage. But that again is having like this conclusionary reality that I'm going to come out of the other side of this with this result. And like everywhere that's where I've gone in the past with my body to have a conclusion, and that conclusion was what was going to create the change. Whereas now, you know, the other thing, sorry folks, the more conscious you get, the more conscious your body gets, and the less it's actually going to put up with the bullshit in a way too. Like I tried it on with my body. I'm like, okay, we're going to follow this program and we're going to do this. And it's like, no, because if you do that, I'm going to fuck your back up so you can't get out of bed, or I'm going to like make you so sore, or you're just going to be cranky, or like now it's like, now my body knows, it's like cottoned onto the fact that I'm more aware of it and it's more aware of everything else. And it's like, actually, no, dude, like it's almost like also when you're willing to have that communion you talked about, and if you're willing to allow your body to, it will steer you in the direction that it desires to go in as well.
Yeah, and that like that listening to your body part that you spoke about there, that's also something I've learned during this lockdown period, because I'm so used to going to a gym every day with a coach who tells me and my body what to do. And then I started training at home, and I was like, shit, I like can't just tell my body what to do. There's no question involved here. So I was so accustomed to being told what to do with my body and just dealing with the pain. And suddenly that was not available anymore. I couldn't force it. I couldn't force that anymore. So I had to start actually asking questions. And, you know, like it came to a point where I would have such bad injuries where at the beginning of lockdown that my body was just like, just rest.
Cool.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's something I will go into the new future too with, is that listening element. Instead of just listening to a coach say, you know, do this and push hard and stop it.
Yeah. And I love that you said that too, because I also wonder, like most of the time when we talk to each other, and by we, I mean people that enjoy our style of exercise, like we love going, like I'm the same. I'm the sort of workout every day type of person, you know, like, and I know my body enjoys it, but what it doesn't enjoy is when I override that and make it, again, the expectation and that result that I'm looking for. So I also wonder, like for anyone out there listening to this, like where are you at with that stuff? Like if you do go to a gym and you base your workouts or the plates you're putting on the bar or the size of the dumbbell you're picking up, if you're basing that on the other people you're looking around at in the gym, or what your trainer is telling you to do. Like, I wonder now if it's time to start actually looking at that and asking your body to tell you where it's at right there in that workout for that day, and not having this place of like, my end result here is this, but to be willing to go into the gym and do shit that you wouldn't usually do, or not follow your program or something like that. And I also wonder like where we make other people's realities with exercise and bodies more relevant than ours. And like, what if that's one tool we could give you guys to take out of this? I mean, there's been a bunch of tools here, and please like listen to this and write a couple of things down and start playing with them with your body. The question thing is a huge thing, definitely, especially when it comes to food and exercise. But also ask your body and ask yourself, like, whose reality with my body have I made more relevant than my own reality and my own awareness? And start to look at like, another great question is, if I could have, what is my reality with my body, and where can I find it?
Yeah.
Because
that's so good.
What if your reality, and what if your reality with your body is different every day? And it might sound weird to start with, but if there's anything here where you're kind of like, I get that there's something here that I know is possible, but I remember when I first started training, my trainer knew more about my body than me. Like, how fucked up is that? Like, in my mind, if she told me this is your program for the week, I would stick to it to the letter, because in my mind, her reality was with my body was more relevant than mine. It's like, like how is that not total insanity? And if we were willing to go beyond that insanity that we've been so like entrained to live from, like, now guys, what if we could really start playing with, like I was talking about before, the magic of our bodies and what our bodies are aware of and what they know and what they can show us, and be willing to also let go of a bit of the control as well, I would say.
Absolutely. The control is like a massive one.
Yeah. And the other thing, Gary was talking this morning on, he's doing a telecall called Aging No Thank You, I think it is. And he did 3 calls, and now he's doing an extension and doing another 3. And this morning he was talking about how he went to bed last night and his stomach was grumbling. You know, like when you're hungry, your tummy kind of grumbles. And he asked his body a question. He's like, oh, I must be hungry. Like, straight to that conclusion, my tummy's grumbling. It means I'm hungry. He's like, oh, I'm going to ask my body a question. Body, do you need anything? His body was like, no. Like, how often do our bodies actually enjoy being empty and hungry? And how often do they enjoy laying down for 10 minutes instead of working out, or instead of working out, stretching for an hour? Like, you know, like, what if you were willing to ask your body, not be vested in what the result was, and be willing to not overeat, not oversleep, not over-exercise, and not over-sex your body, and really listen to what levels of each of those things and everything else that involves it that it requires for that day.
Yeah, I love that. It's like go seeking the space that your body is instead of trying to fill it up all the time.
Yeah. Love it. And get out in the sun. That's one thing I want to say. Like, if you can, especially, like, take like half an hour a day and let your body absorb some sunlight and some nature and some earth. Like, even if it's in your backyard, lay on the grass, or if you don't have grass, go out onto your veranda or sit by a window where the sun is on you as well. And allow the earth to contribute to your body is definitely the other big, because the earth doesn't have a point of view about, I'm too fat, I'm not fit enough, I'm not this, I'm not that. Like, what if we could also tap into the energy of how the earth creates and what its point of view about, what its point of view about beauty is as well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think and I think we need to wrap it up. It's so funny. We were like, oh my God, we're about to jump on a Facebook Live together, which is very funny. But just quickly before we go, Wes, like, how can people find you? Like, is there anything you want to tell the world about how to get in touch with you, what you've got coming up, or anything at all?
Well, you can find me on www.wesleypullen.com, or you can find me on Facebook and Wesley Michael Pullen. Where else am I? On Instagram. Do I want to say Grindr again? You can find me on Grindr.
Oh, yes, I like it.
Yeah. Or on the Access Consciousness site, you can always check out accessconsciousness.com. Yeah.
Thank you so much for this conversation and for being just always someone when I think about you and I tap into your energy, it always makes me smile. I'm so grateful to have you in this world, and thank you for being on my podcast.
Thank you so much. It's been so much fun.
Awesome. Okay, see you next time, guys. Have fun.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Consciousness Road Trip podcast. If you'd like to find more of my podcast or more information, you can head to my website, sarahwatt.com.au/road trip or sarahwatt.podbean.com. See you on the next episode.